direct from the beautiful Inland Blue Studios. Honey, this is the Nerdlife Crisis podcast with your hosts, that fine-ass Chris Thayer, that beautiful Steve Hale, and that big hunker chunk of meat, Ron Milts. Woo! Mama's hot up in here. Let's get this party started.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdlife Crisis podcast. Here with your host today,
Chris Thayer,
Steve Hale,
and I'm Ron Milts. And we are so excited to be back here with you guys again for another rousing episode. Okay, but seriously, we got a lot to talk about on this episode. We are way behind the curve, but we've got to talk about one of the other big movies that came out so far this summer. It's time to talk some Guardians, you guys, because Marvel is fucking still doing it right over in their neck of the woods.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, man.
So
there were problems with this movie for me. In a lot of ways, I liked it better than the first film, but I think there were some things that I understand why, but it just kind of like got bogged down once it got to his planet.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah, it just got a little long for me.
See, for me, I thought, well, like, you know, with the first movie, like, right in the start, it's very serious.
Right.
And then it gets funnier as it goes.
Right.
And this one, complete opposite, starts off totally funny.
And it got more serious.
And it got more serious, really serious,
Right.
as it progressed, you know? And I thought it definitely fleshed out, you know, the Star-Lord character.
I was just super excited it was not an Empire Strikes Back ripoff.
Uh,
Although it definitely had...
you were my father.
Well, the whole story was about familial relationships. Like, the entire story for every character was them dealing with a father-son relationship, if you go back and look at it. Mm-hmm. Which I thought, like, people were like, well, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, everything about the second one, for me, I liked more than the first one. Everything. And I know that it's like I'm in the minority on that one. But it was fun. I laughed at all the appropriate spots. I thought all the characters had character growth from the first film. You know, we all went on a journey. Everybody got a good story. You know,
Drax still fucking.
Oh my god,
he stole the show.
He stole the movie for me, dude.
And you know what was surprisingly not awesome was Baby Groot.
I disagree.
Like the first beginning of it, and then the little scene in the cave. But other than that, there wasn't
the sequence where he's like, "Go in." It's a Finn. Go into my room.
That was funny. That was funny.
that was
He brought the guy
pretty
an
good.
eye, and he's like, "That is a desk." He brought a desk. That's the scene they showed us at Comic-Con, and the room like died. Like
That
it
was funny. That was
really funny.
But I think Drax was the breakout star of this movie.
You are incredibly ugly.
Right. You're hideous.
So good, dude.
But you are beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, he was
dude.
great.
Batista, man, he was fucking awesome in this, man.
And, like, I was kind of surprised at how like that movie, and then I loved the why did I just lose her name?
Mantis.
Mantis. Like, Mantis was, for me, like, it was like female, like her awkwardness, although she understood relationships more, she's like, you are in love with her.
Yeah.
Like, that whole sequence, like, there were so many nice moments in the movie for me that I enjoyed it, like, start to finish, and I never got bored. Like, I never got bored.
I liked how they called fucking Rocket everything but he's a fucking trash panda. And he's a fucking, she kept calling him a fox and shit, just like,
can I pet him?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. He's like, oh, that was a practical joke.
And then it was kind of funny because one of the complaints people had and I love when people don't understand story in any way. They were like, there was no bad guy in the film. I'm like, no, Kurt Russell was always the bad guy in the film.
Yeah.
You just never, like, it's one of those things where you don't realize it until a certain point.
Right.
But he was always set up to be the villain, you know? And it's like, I laugh at people and their inability to not be spoon-fed things. Like, they can't follow, like, hey, guess what? Even though he seemed nice, he was never nice at any point. Like, that's the whole fucking point, dummy. You know?
Right.
Like the whole setup of like the father-son relationship was always between.
It's too complicated for some reptilian brains to comprehend all the different dimensions of a fucking goddamn personality in a story. I mean,
guess,
fuck, man. Dude, it makes me mental.
I loved I cannot pull anybody's name from this movie. The Michael Rooker character with the fin. Yondu. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like all the Yondu stuff, and once again going back to Alien Covenant, not because we need to talk about that, but nothing in that movie was earned, and I feel like every moment in Guardians 2 was earned. Like they earned those moments, including Yondu's death at the end.
Yeah.
Like I did not think that I would care enough about Yondu when he died.
Right.
That I would get emotional about it at the end of the movie. You know, but when I was like, no.
I knew, and I fucking knew right away as soon as it's like, God damn, Captain, why are you always giving this guy a break? It's like, because that's been his son.
Right.
He raised this boy.
He has that father-son relationship where it's like, I can't show you how much I love you. I'm gonna talk about how I'm always was gonna eat you.
Right.
You know, but I love you, you know?
Yeah.
And then Michael Rooker had the absolute best fucking, he's like, you look like Mary Poppins.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Hey, look at me. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Like, I want that on a shirt with him just floating with the umbrella, you know?
I've seen that, actually.
Like, that's a fantastic shirt somewhere to be had. I think my only disappointment for me in that movie, was, weirdly, I did not enjoy Rocket as much in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought the Rocket stuff was kind of forced in spots, you know? Mm-hmm. Like,
It didn't bother me. Now, his scene where they all show up, the Ravagers show up.
That was
and
fun.
He takes them apart. That was great.
That was like vintage Rocket.
Right.
But I thought, like, all of his anger that he had, it didn't, like...
why did you steal those fucking batteries?
Right.
To be an asshole.
Well, that was fine.
That was kind of fun. He's like, when he's showing the fucking bags, like, look what I did.
But it was like, basically from the point when they're on the ship and he was like fighting with Yondu and all,
Right.
I'm like... I didn't feel like, I thought we had gotten past that sort of in the first movie, you know, and then it like reoccurred, you know, as opposed to where Drax, like, you could see he was like starting to get like, it's a metaphor,
right?
You know, there were like little moments like that, and with Peter, it was like you could see everybody's relationship had like grown, you know, except for him and Gamora, obviously, like they put that relationship off for another film,
right?
But you know, I just, that was my only complaint, was I felt like Rocket being shitty. Like overly shitty in the second act was a bit much,
right.
And there was no reason for it, you know.
Right.
And then he sort of was fine at a certain. He's like, I'm fine. I just got some sand in my vagina, you know.
Right.
And it's like, let's build a bomb, you know.
I did like more Nebula.
Yeah,
But I think she's fucking hot anyways.
Well,
she doesn't do anything wrong in my book.
Karen Gillian's her name. She is banging hot. Dude.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. Like, and it's funny because all the stuff with, like, the relationship between the two of them, like, I totally buy into.
Right.
Like, you know, and it was just basically like her, and I love her going like, you know, I like used to, like, every time you beat me, like, he would fucking add another cybernetic limb to me, you know? And she's like, I never wanted to fight. I just wanted a sister. And you were the one that was the asshole. Like, that scene, I was like, wow, that was, like, way more powerful than it should have been, right?
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
And then all the Ravagers getting fucked up by Baby Groot and Yondu. I love that section.
But just
of
the
film.
part where they were fucking shooting him out the fucking airlock, you know, like,
that was
this
gnarly.
This is what happens. This is actually what happens when there's a fucking mutiny.
Right.
You know, it's like they're out the fucking door.
It's not Pirates of the Caribbean where we're gonna sing and fucking
right.
ho ho.
Yeah. They walked the fucking plank with those guys.
What did you guys think about the Stallone?
I liked it, dude.
Like of the
That I actually liked. The fucking Hasselhoff had to go.
that was fantastic
No,
though.
no,
The David
it had
Hasselhoff
to
cameo
go.
was that's phenomenal.
No, it had to go, and his bullshit song at the end has to
No,
go.
it was so great.
It was not great.
I disagree. I did
was-
like.
I liked it.
I laughed uproariously loud when David Hasselhoff. He
I
was
was-
like, "Perhaps I'll take this for."
I'm so over the Hoff, dude. Don't put him in the movie. It was enough to have Stallone to go, okay.
But I tell you what, you know, I think we talked about this
Should've went
rumor.
Kevin Bacon.
This
That
rumor
would've been
about
better.
a year ago of like these big name actors that are like they're picking up the phone and saying, I want in on some of these Marvel movies. And here we got, I mean, look at how many fucking people were stuffed into this movie.
Well, look at the last two Guardians movie. You got Glenn Close, John C. Reilly was in the
Right.
last one.
Right.
You know, you turn around and you've got Benicio del Toro.
Right.
Like you got these people that are doing 1 and 2 scenes worth of work.
Yeah.
Because it's like the royalties are going to be phenomenal on these movies, you know? And you turn around to the second one, Kurt Russell is the fucking villain.
Right.
Like you had me at hello, you know?
Right.
I mean, when
got Wyatt Earp
Stallone
up
showed,
there.
I was like, fucking Stallone? Like, what
Right.
the fuck,
The
you know?
his whole crew. It was Michelle Yeoh, from Crouching Tiger.
Okay, somebody asked me if that's who that was, and I was like, you know, man, I don't know.
It's Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger was in there.
Okay.
Ving Rhames
Right.
was in there.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Marcellus is not a bitch in space. Look at that, right? And then, and even like
You had the girl, the gold girl, was the villain in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's right. I forgot about that. And then Miley Cyrus was the voice of the goddamn robot.
I believe Zombie was another voice of one of the crew members again in this one.
Really?
He was in the first one.
These movies, and especially like the Guardians movies, I think are doing it right.
Right.
Like it's once again, I mean, I cannot extol the virtues of the Marvel universe any more than I already do. And people that complain that these movies are like, oh, they feel similar. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? They don't suck.
Right.
Like, they don't like. I would rather have a bunch of movies that are similar in tone and feeling that are good than watch Alien Covenant again.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm okay with people taking chances. Like, I have no problem with that because I think Guardians is a chance.
Logan was a chance.
Dude, Guardians was an obscure fucking Marvel title from like the late 70s, early 80s. Like, and listen, I've been a collector.
Yeah.
Since like 1983 or something. I didn't know this fucking story.
No.
I mean, maybe I've seen a character here or there and some of the other, but I knew nothing of this fucking series
It's
at
not
all.
even a B title. It's like a C or D title.
Am I wrong,
you know?
or are Stallone's group
the original
actual
Guardians? They are supposed to be the original
That's what I
Guardians.
thought.
Oh, okay.
That's
all
what I
right.
thought.
And they're like, if you look at them, it's like the original crew, you know?
Right.
So, and that's where Yondu would have come in. 'Cause he was
Right.
one of the, and that's a fun little Easter egg. It was like Howard the Duck showing up again.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's Howard the Duck again.
Yeah, we don't need Howard the Duck either.
I like
Make Howard great again.
I like Stan Lee's little part in this one again too. It's always
dude.
Cool, dude.
Like he's the collector. I
Yeah.
love that he's the collector.
Yeah.
I actually think in the next few years, because basically I think after we get done with the Avengers, I think they're going to end this cycle. I think you're going to lose Tony Stark will be gone, maybe Captain America. They're going to lose all the big hitters, and I think that essentially the Guardians become the new Iron Man.
Maybe.
Well, I mean,
It makes sense.
I think they're setting it up for that. But the reason I say that is because I have the distinct feeling that, like, Adam Warlock, who they hinted at in the egg, like that's what that Easter egg was at the end.
Right.
I think they're going to cast somebody big as that, and that'll be our next sort of like you're gonna create sort of like a space version of the Guardians of the Galaxy of the Avengers. Like you'll have Space Avengers essentially,
Right.
and I think the Fantastic Four is gonna show up in space at some point.
Nah.
I think Marvel's gonna buy that entity back.
They wouldn't do that.
Or
they wouldn't put him in space.
Why not? They saved Spidey. Spidey was dead.
Look forward to that movie.
Yeah, but that made sense. Why would you put the Fantastic Four in space?
Because they're a comic book about people that travel through space and fight things interdimensionally.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
I don't read that bullshit.
Oh, motherfucker. You just shitting on my childhood while you're at it.
I'm sitting up against like 4 long boxes of Fantastic Four books.
Right.
Like, you just like...
No, I don't know anything about it.
You just like, seriously, dude.
I mean, if it doesn't have, the Miles Teller in it, I don't want to watch it.
Oh, that movie is so bad.
Fuck that movie.
It's fucking unwatchably bad. But yeah, man, and especially as we get closer to Infinity War, I mean, that's next year. You know,
year?
it's like
Yeah.
we're there, and it's you start to wonder like
What's next?
what's next? You know, they aren't talking about what comes next.
I've been saying for a year, dude, the shit's gonna start winding down.
Well, maybe they're smart. Maybe they're gonna hit it at the peak and just
Yeah.
like sort of let it. I mean, they're not gonna let it go away,
No,
but it will
no.
turn into something different. You
Yeah.
know, so I think we're past the days of Iron Man and Thor carrying the fucking water for everybody.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I think that's come to an end, a close, as it were.
Yeah, I think this will be our last Thor movie.
I'm looking forward to that shit too, dude. Like,
I don't know.
there's nothing in the Marvel slate that's coming out that I'm like, nah, I don't want to see that. Like, Spider-Man, gonna be fucking great.
It's gonna be great.
Looking
Thor?
forward to the Spider-Man one.
Thor,
Totally.
like he's gonna fight with the Hulk in a fucking gladiator pit. Sign me up, dude.
Maybe.
Sign me
Yeah.
up. Like,
I'll see it, but I'm not like stoked for it. That's
I'm,
like
I'm,
Ant-Man.
I
I'll
gotta,
see
I
it,
gotta be.
but-
I'm with Chris on this. I'm not the biggest Thor fan, but I will see the movie.
you love you some douche speak. You love it. Ye oldie.
Oh yeah. What did I call the fucking
douche font.
Douche font.
his fucking merry band of fucking.
Lady Sif and the
I don't even remember anymore.
Go back
but
in
the
time
douchebag 3
fuck,
or something
dude.
like that.
I mean, just never been a big fan. And I wasn't a big fan of the comics, too. I mean, if I picked up a Thor comic, it was because I had to, you know, how they would have that, they would say something and they say, oh, see Thor fucking
Right.
232 or
like
whatever.
a crossover.
So I get it and go, you just got me for $1.50 for that. Fuckers.
I feel like I feel the same way with the Hulk though.
Another one that
the whole
was a
comic
big
books,
collector of.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain comic books that I've never been interested in reading, and like Superman, I've never been interested in Superman because Superman to me, you've created essentially a hero that's like, you can't beat Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, but at least he has a weakness. Hulk doesn't even have a weakness to him.
He does have a weakness.
What is
love?
His love is his weakness. But Superman, you get at least you've got his Achilles heel. You know?
Kryptonite?
Yeah.
I guess, but it's like this.
Apparently that shit's all over the place.
Well, I mean,
Seen
the planet exploded.
Yeah.
You know.
But here's my problem with Superman is the same problem I have with these fucking alien movies, which is an inconsistency in your world's rules.
Right.
Like I don't care if it's like either Kryptonite's hard to find or it's so easy. Like either Batman's got to like rob multiple places to get enough to make a spear that it takes all his resources, or I can just walk outside and it's like all over the fucking place.
Right.
Like I'm on a kryptonite farm.
Choose one.
Like make up your mind. Even it's plentiful or it's not plentiful. Either it kills him or it just slightly weakens him. You know, it's like it just drives me nuts. So it's sort of like the Flash, which we need to talk about for a hot second here after we get done with our Guardians talk. So
I don't have much else to add to the Guardians. I mean, I enjoyed the hell of it. I think my favorite part was the opening scene with Baby Groot dancing.
I loved.
I think it was brilliant.
For me, there was a lot of really good, memorable moments in it, including the ending, like the whole bit with Groot and the bomb, when he's like, "Okay, now tell me what you're gonna do," and he's like, I am Groot. Yes, I'm Groot.
But we
yes,
saw
I'm
that
Groot.
in the trailers.
No! Yeah, but I don't give a shit about that. Like things like that. It didn't. They didn't ruin the end of the movie for me in any way, shape, or form. I thought they were gonna fight the big fucking mouth monster. Was gonna be the final, like the way the trailer set it up.
Right.
And that essentially, like that interdimensional creature they kill at the beginning, you don't even see the fight with it. Although it did have one of my favorite jokes, which is Drax jumping inside of it with the knives.
And he cut his way out.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have killed this by myself. like brilliant. Like it's so brilliant, you know? But I like, once again, can't wait to see Volume 3. Can't wait to hear the new soundtrack on his Zune. It has over 300 songs.
Right, I was like 300 songs. Woo!
I do have to say, I downloaded the soundtrack before I saw the movie.
Volume 2 is better than Volume 1.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I
The
think
soundtrack for 2 is not as fun. There are a couple songs that are good, but you've got some songs and they're like, why is that even in here?
I think it listens better than 1.
I disagree.
There's some good deep cuts on that.
There's some serious deep cuts on that.
Yeah, but that's
you
part
could
of the
get
fun.
rid of 5 or 6 of those cuts.
I disagree.
And put something else that's a little more interesting.
I would like Peter to discover some punk rock a little more in this next one.
That'd be funny.
I think it'd be great if he had like a punk phase in Volume 3. Like that would make my day. Because he's like at that point, and there were a few like moments on the Volume 2 soundtrack.
Could use a little Ramones.
Yeah, right. Like, wouldn't it be nice, you know, or like, you know, some Kinks or something on there, you know, maybe a little later. Early, that's a little proto punk, but like, you know, something a little later would be fun, you know. So I don't need like Bad Religion or anything like that to show up.
Sex Pistols would be nice.
Oh, sure, I could do some Sex Pistols on there, but I mean, isn't that a little overplayed? Not to be a dick or anything.
Sex Pistols?
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm really sticking with the Ramones on that because they're fun.
Yeah,
It's still fun. Where Sex Pistols,
he's like, "Fuck the world."
not so much. Yeah.
Oi,
I don't want a baby that looks like that. You don't want a baby that looks like that. Yeah. I would stick with the Ramones, something like that.
but there's some good tracks you could pull.
Right.
Listen, it had one of my kids on the rail. He was fucking dancing his little ass off to
My
it,
son
dude.
sat through the whole thing.
I have bought a lot of the songs, play them on my
I've
iPod
got both
or in
the
the car.
soundtracks.
You know,
I play
he
them in
digs
class.
it, dude. Yeah. So,
I'm just, for me, it's like, and the only thing, like, the wife is just like, you know, the raccoon's a little foul-mouthed. I'm like, well, he's not repeating any of it, so we're fine at this point. You know, that's her only, like, misgivings.
I do think that was kind of a funny line. Welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. And he didn't say frickin'.
Right?
right.
For me, I don't have a problem with it, but, like, for, like, kids, that's the only thing I could see that'd be like,
whatever. What's the rating on it?
PG-13.
Yeah, so
I'll tell you,
they're under 13.
They push that envelope these days.
They definitely
But
do.
still, 13 is pretty old, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just took
For
my
sure.
11-year-old to Alien Covenant.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah, but there's no reason for that movie to be
Hey,
rated
listen,
R.
man. I've been seeing rated R movies, since I was a little kid,
Right,
dude.
right.
I haven't killed anybody yet. Now, mind you, I have a mouth like.
right. But I think that would be that way either way.
I feel the same way about the rated R films. Like Revenge of the Nerds at 7, it kind of fucked me up a little bit, but not completely. All right, I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck are Robster Craws, but other than that, it's not the end of the world. We're getting low on time here. I think we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon. But before we do, I just want to talk about the Flash finale with Chris.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm out on this one. It's all you guys.
Oh, man. Now, I've been saying for how many seasons now they need to kill off Iris West?
Yes.
And if you haven't watched it, and I'm telling you, the
Spoilers.
spoiler coming. So they kill off Iris West, and I'm thinking, fucking great. And then turns out it was the only likable character on the show that they killed.
They killed HR.
They killed the only really genuinely likable character. I mean, I like Cisco. He's cool, but he's,
What's the actor's name? Tom. I can't think of his name.
Man.
But I feel like we've reached a point with him now where every season we're gonna kill one of his
We'll
variants.
get a new HR.
and we
Wells.
get a new Harrison Wells from some other fucking and it's just like, I get it, the guy's a good actor, but like this last one, I'm like, why? I just look.
No, but this character came into his own. I felt
Yeah.
like he was really likable, and more than any of the other Wells.
Yeah, for me, this season was not their strongest season.
Well, but here's the thing: would you have cared if they'd killed off Iris West?
Yeah, I would have.
You would have been hurt by that?
No, I wouldn't have been hurt.
You'd been happy.
I would have been happier than
Right.
what we got with at the end, which
And
is
I think that's why
banish
they did it.
fucking Barry to the negative zone.
No, I'm talking about the death.
Oh.
They kill him off because he's the only one that we really care about. Other than Barry. You can't kill Barry because it's his show.
Well, yeah.
Who else
But
are you
you
gonna
can
kill?
banish him to the negative zone or the fucking.
Yeah,
the
that
Speed
was so
Force?
stupid, dude. You get all the way to the end of the episode, he kills himself, and then, oh no, she kills him.
Right.
And we have the resolution, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the Earth is freaking out. Oh, well, you got to send somebody in the Speed Force.
And then it's
I'll do it.
and it's like you got this whole. You could literally throw in any fucking character besides the lead in the show, but you're gonna like, no, we're gonna put the lead in the Speed
Right,
Force,
right.
and I'm supposed to believe like he's gonna be there forever. Like I don't
Right.
believe that. Like not for a
It
heartbeat.
was so unbelievable. It would have been more believable if like Wally had like sucker punched him and ran off into the Speed Force.
Sure.
He sacrificed.
Or if they would
and
have,
the next
or if they
season
would have
we go and
grabbed,
get him
if
back.
they would have grabbed Old Flash,
Old Flash and just throw him in.
then like we survived, and like what's that, Old Flash, and like pushed
Well,
him in.
and
You know?
that's like my kid. Like, why didn't he go? He was just there.
for a while.
Yeah,
actually.
so we can't really like throw him back in. He did his time. It's like, well, not Flash. I agree. Somebody could have gone though.
I'm just ready for them to not be fighting a speedster.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, that show, the nice thing about this season is they did introduce a lot of like they went back and they had a great 2-episode arc with Gorilla Grodd. That was a lot of
It
fun.
was all right.
Oh come on, dude! The Gorilla City stuff. That was
All
good.
I know is they had a musical episode.
Yeah, this
And-
was not
and
their
it
best
was,
season.
It was pretty awful.
I'd say out of the 3 seasons, this was the weakest, but it's still
Yes.
better than the last 5 seasons of Arrow.
Or the last 3 seasons of Gotham, or the last 2 seasons of Guardians
don't
of the Galaxy.
shit on Legends of Tomorrow. Show's awesome.
I can't even do it. Dude.
You're-
I've got them recorded, and I cannot bring myself to watch them.
I think you've really
I've
lost
tried.
your way with
I've
the
tried,
CW
dude.
universe. But I'm sure you watch Supergirl every week, right?
We are caught up.
I just piqued Steve's interest on that one.
We are caught up on the Supergirl. We're caught up on. No, I'm not caught up on the Supergirl.
Oh no!
But I am caught up on the.
I
Flash.
would assumed you watched that shit live.
No, but I
Like,
am-
you were
I am
Monday
caught
nights,
up
8
on
o'clock.
the-
Stop what you're doing. We gotta
I am
fucking
caught up on
get
the
this.
Izombie, which has really hit its stride. That show is fucking great right now.
Okay, Steve, I'm going to say something. Hold on. And you're about to be fucking blown away. I was working on my computer, and the TV was on, and I had been watching whatever came on before Izombie, and I fucking left it on because there was nothing else on to watch, and I was working, and I accidentally watched an episode of Izombie, and I didn't hate it.
It's fucking great, dude.
It was actually...
It's so cheesy fun.
It was kind of funny.
Yes.
I refuse to watch anymore because I'm not gonna watch
Now, which one did you watch?
I don't even remember.
What was her persona? Because that's the fun of the show.
Like it was like some sort of like a dominatrix thing.
Oh yeah, that was good stuff.
Like she ate the mind of a dominatrix and got into like kinky sex stuff.
That's the brilliance of the show. Is every episode.
Well, I mean, that might kind of catch my interest,
Right.
you know.
But kinky sex stuff in a way that's like on the CW, like
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
there was no like double dildo penetration or anything crazy
Oh,
like that.
well, shit.
You
That
know.
sucks then.
But
No, it was.
there was some
it's been
spanking,
really
a little
funny.
bit of, some in like and like some smacks and things.
I just fucking watch reruns of Quantum Leap. Thank you.
I
No,
love
dude,
Quantum Leap.
Great fucking show.
And the more people that I tell about this show, they start to check it out. Like we got our listeners, they're like, it's actually okay.
It's kind of like herpes. Like you just try to just avoid it at all costs because once you get it, like you're fucked. Like
Right, you're in it. You're
But
in.
I'm not watching any more Izombie.
You're
But
watching
I will
some
say
more
I
iZombie.
did not hate it. How's that?
Oof.
How's this? If the concept was if they called it anything else and she wasn't a zombie and
Yeah.
just had discovered if she eats dead people's brains,
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a book called Chew that's like
sure, I'd have been like I'm down with that. Like that's fun. It's a fun concept. But the fact that you're selling me that she is somehow a zombie.
that. I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, and one other thing. Oh my God. Either of you watched the Fear the Walking Dead premiere?
No, you did say that
It was good.
It was actually
I'm not
pretty
gonna
okay.
They killed off Maori Warrior Dad.
Oh,
Surprisingly, after he had a phenomenal opening to the episode in the first episode of the season.
Is the old guy
No, the dad, the not fucking Colombian killer guy who
Cliff?
Cliff. They killed Cliff.
Wow.
He's dead. And so
wait. Who's that?
Cliff Curtis.
Cliff, the guy that's her husband,
Okay,
that had
yeah,
the
yeah.
son that died last season. He's dead too.
Oh, okay.
So they opened the season with
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So just to recap. So they got captured by a bunch of dudes that look like army dudes.
Of
Well, they're
course.
not. They're militia.
Uh-huh.
So they're a group of militia people that were down there in San Diego foraging for supplies, and they live out in the fucking desert.
Oh, we're back in San Diego
Yeah.
now.
Right, because they had crossed the border.
I missed
So what they were doing though was it ends up being like a son in his group of people, and they're basically all the people they were capturing. They were taking them down below and shooting them to see. They were doing tests on them to see how fucking long it takes them to turn.
Oh, okay.
And so they basically they're down there killing people randomly, and so
Yeah.
they take the girls upstairs, and he's like, "We want you to come with us because you're hot, essentially."
Right. We need breeders.
We do, and so a good brother shows up, and they take the Cliff Curtis character, and there's like this whole thing where he tries to get out because he's trying to protect the son and the Hispanic girlfriend from Mexico, and they take him out, and they're like, "We're gonna just throw him in the pit." Like they've got this pit set up outside, and they're like, "It's great, like you're self breeders. We're gonna throw you in the pit. They're gonna bite you. We'll have more of you get a fucking test on. We're just curious about what happens to the dead." So he ends up fighting with fucking bricks and rebar and killing like 24 zombies.
Uh-huh.
And you're like this. I'm watching this, and I'm like, this show, like, is this the same show? Like, how is this show fucking cool all of a
I
sudden?
wonder if they had different writers.
It has to be.
Has to be.
So there's a sequence where the kids escape and they're running out and they get into like the underbelly and they open it up and there's all these zombies.
Oh yeah.
And the zombies come rushing in through the sewers and they're fighting to get back out. And then there's like they're finally getting ready to leave this base and all the blah blah blah. And all the rats come out of the fucking
Oh shit.
walls
Okay.
to scurry from. And this one guy's like, "What the?" And then he does like dumbass, like in the zombie apocalypse, I'm gonna look through a hole where rats just came flying out of. 'Cause I'm
Right.
an idiot.
Yeah.
So he looks through and the zombie fucking reaches in and grabs him. The fucking dumb mom from the wedding at the hotel, they jump over to there in the second episode because we're like, what's up with the black guy with the boat? He's posing as a doctor to try and, keep they're like, end up like he delivers a baby breech. Like there's all this stuff that you're like,
I could do that.
I'm kind of curious
I
about
mean,
that.
I'm kind of a doctor.
Yeah, but the mom fucking commits suicide, like jumps out the window. I'm like,
No
this
shit.
show just got cool as fuck, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
They escape the San Diego compound and they get separated. Like one group goes out in the trucks and the other one in a helicopter. While they're flying over and they're coming into land, Cliff Curtis, Maori dad guy, gets fucking shot from the ground. Literally takes a bullet through the neck and is like, to keep from turning inside, opens the door and fucking falls out to his death.
No shit.
It's like this whole first two, and then they get to the militia camp, and it's like, they're in the middle of the desert on like a farm,
Yeah.
and they're like you know, it's all these militia people, and they've got this on lockdown, and it's like, I'm like, they're finally telling an interesting story here. Like, I know that we have shat on this show for 2 seasons.
I'll wait to see what happens the rest of the season before I go back and watch the end of the last one.
I'm telling you, the first 2 episodes of this season, they get rid of all the chaff. All the characters you hated are gone. All of them.
Okay.
So all that's left now is the mom, the original mom, her daughter, her son, and the black guy. That's it.
No
Everybody else is that you were like, all these people are annoying and stupid. They're all gone. And they finally have showed up in a place where it looks like some people got their shit together in the fucking apocalypse with interesting shit happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they can save this show. We've been saying for 2 years, how can they save this show? And
This might be it.
This might be it. They might have found something here. They're telling a story we haven't.
It took them fucking 3 years.
Well, but we talked about this on last season, The Walking Dead. So you sort of had the motorcycle crew aspect with Negan and all them. You sort of have Rick with your in the wilderness survivor. We had our gang. We had fucking Tito and the boys in season 1 in the city. We've never had a true militia group that's like.
Right. This is what they've been getting ready for.
Preppers.
Yeah, like seriously. And
we've been getting ready for fucking aliens,
right?
Communists, and fucking zombies.
You know,
we're ready.
And this crew, and he literally goes, "Well, we've been prepping for everything. I never thought it would be zombies." He's like, "But here we are."
Oh, no, you piqued my goddamn interest.
And dude, I was not. I literally, it's one of those things. It's like the Izombie thing. I had work to do on my computer. Nothing else was on, and I'm like, "Fuck it. I'll watch."
I'm gonna go home and watch this tonight.
You might like it.
I gotta see this.
I'm not doing it. I'm not getting invested. I'm just not doing it. I'll wait until this season's over and you tell me it was amazing.
Well, I mean, they're not being chased by Home Depot workers anymore, so it's like at least there's something.
Whoa!
Well, they left Mexico, is what it was. But you know, I was shocked at how I was like this. You remember when we were watching like parts of season 1 and we're like the drug kid's the only one that gets it?
Yeah.
Like now I'm like, oh, there's more people that fucking get it.
Right.
And they're not doing incredibly stupid things, which is like the death nail for me.
2 seasons.
And
let's do the stupidest thing possible.
But we got rid of all the annoying characters. You know, and like I'm sitting here going, now if we just kill the mom off, we're set.
Yeah, because she is fucking something else.
Like we're just one kill from her away from it just being about the kids, which are the only characters, and the black guy, the only characters that I like in the show.
Right,
you know?
the only ones who I thought were remotely compelling.
Yeah,
you know,
and the black guy, like even I wish I knew his name so I could stop calling him the black guy. I tried to purge that show as much from my memory as possible.
Yeah,
and then now I went.
Give us an episode or 2, we'll remember his name.
Yeah, I'll get everybody's names back. I just was shocked how much I enjoyed it. It was somewhat surprising. So, all right, we don't have really anything else to talk about. I mean, we have some stuff, but we're gonna wrap this up. Does anyone have a rant or anything they want to talk about before we finish up?
No, I mean we kind of ranted on the Alien Covenant. I already talked about my freaking kids.
I always have something. But...
You go right ahead.
No, feel free.
Mine isn't. All right, I'll keep it short.
Okay.
So basically, I'm like renovating my classroom, trying to get like the computers mounted under the tables, you know, make it look like a cool design lab. So I'm moving shit around, drilling stuff, hooking, basically. I look under the desks and every motherfucking table has gum under it. Every motherfucking
This is something
table.
new? I thought this was something standard.
It's a rant from 1945. Like,
no, here's what I don't get.
This is all Dateline 1945. There's gum under students' desks.
I know, but I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, this is some repugnant, fucking awful, disgusting shit. I cannot believe people still do this.
Hey, listen, man. I've started literally a Facebook folder now of taking pictures of shit I find. Like, what is up with people just walking down the street with the Q-tip sticking in their fucking ear, and then they just throw it on the ground? Same with the little floss picks.
I don't get it, dude.
It's just like I'm out in the parking lot.
Motherfucking savages.
This is
dude.
where I'm going to throw it, right here. So
I'm
not surprised by the gum.
It was at my other school too in Yucaipa. I do not fucking get it. You're here in what is a state-of-the-art lab. You have access to shit that the fucking professionals don't use. And you're going to put gum under the table? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know how
like, who the fuck does that?
Like, you're talking about 15 and 16-year-old dumb kids.
But even then, who the fuck does this?
Well,
I don't understand it.
A lot of people.
Listen,
lot of
man.
dummies.
I know. So that's my rant. If you fucking put gum under the table, you're a fucking savage, and you deserve to be pistol whipped.
Hey, listen, man. I work with people who can't even flush the toilet. All right, so I'll take some gum.
I'd live with people they can't flush the toilet. Either of them.
Oh, I tell you, I would go fucking I'd burn the house down.
I
dude.
do.
Like literally.
Okay. First off, my child shits like my wife does, which is
I got one of my
remember that
boys
scene in
who could
Jurassic
drop
Park?
a fucking bear turd, man.
I'm fucking Jeff Goldblum every time I walk into a bathroom after one of those two, and I'm like, wow, that is one big pile of shit. Like every time.
Dude,
Every time.
Vic will come and get me. He's like, dude, Dad, you gotta see this poop that came out of my butt.
Yep.
And I'll go in there and I'm going, son, that's what we call a perfect 10.
Yeah.
I completely agree with the shit that people leave in places that
I'm not, you know what? I'm not
Yeah.
fucking surprised anymore by the filth of the human race, dude.
Well, think about the beautiful trip we just took down the Kern River, and every day we stopped for lunch, like I picked up trash.
Dude, I just did a trail cleanup last weekend out at Bighorn Mine. Holy crap, man. And then I took the weekend before, the weekend we did our river trip that Saturday, I took the boys up to the base of San Bernardino Mountains. There's a creek up there. I pulled 25 pounds of trash out of there in less than 40. We were there for 45 minutes playing in the water, dude.
We do that every time.
I'm not surprised anymore.
No.
I'm really not, dude.
Well, people have no respect for...
I've been at 11,500 feet and I'm finding water bottles on the fucking ground, man. It's like, you came a long way, man, to be a fucking asshole, dude.
Right.
You know? So on the lower levels, I'm not surprised at all, dude. You know? It's funny when you go someplace, though, where it's like as much as I talk crap about certain parts of hipster Oregon, I gotta tell you, dude, that was a clean state.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell the difference as you cross the border
Into California.
It was like night and day, dude. Like we could tell. Like it was like, holy shit. But they also had signs that say littering $5,000.
They don't fuck around.
They're
there,
not
dude.
fucking playing.
Washington's the same way. They're like, you don't come here and litter.
Right.
Like if we find you littering, it's like you're gonna lose. Like here, we're like littering fine, $260, and people are like, just making it rain,
Yeah.
and it's like up there, they don't screw around with that, you know? Especially their trails and such, It just, mental state, man. Like, but no surprise whatsoever by
Those
that.
kids are going to grow up to be
either.
They're going to grow up to be assholes.
Yeah, no, it just fucking pissed me off.
They're probably going to have a SoCal sticker on the back window.
It's not new. I've been dealing with it for over 20 years, but just for some reason, we've built this lab that fucking professional graphic designers would look at this place and go, God damn, how do you get this stuff? And they still shit on it. It's like no matter what you do, it's just their fucking trash can.
Yeah. Welcome to being an old. Get off my lawn.
Get off my.
It's not even that, man.
No, I mean, here's the
Bastards.
thing. You're just now arriving with the rest of us. That's all. Like, you've been crotchety about other things for a long time.
I've been on. It's not a surprise. I just wanted it on record. If you're the kind of person that puts gum under a fucking table in a state-of-the-art computer lab, you're a fucking savage and you deserve to be killed.
I agree with that.
I would third that. I believe that there is a what do they call it? A quorum, as it were, of agreements on that. So, my only rant right now is I'm officially tired, and we've talked about the Inception wall in everything.
Oh, Jesus.
The fucking new thing is I am tired of hearing parts of the Tron Legacy soundtrack in every fucking techno soundtrack that comes out for new movies. And it's starting to become an epidemic where and it's not like they're not stealing enough of it that it's like the whole thing, but we're definitely lifting themes in that same way that when the Star Wars soundtrack came out in the early 80s, every movie had a orchestral soundtrack that sounded like John Williams, and especially the space movies. And certain movies like what was the Space Pirates movie one was like doing it, or Spaceballs is like doing it intentionally to mock. But Spice Pirates, I think is the name of that movie. I fucking haven't.
Ice
seen it.
Pirates.
Ice Pirates. Thank
There you go.
Fantastic second chance movie, by the way.
Very good movie.
Space herpes. But there's so many movies that now it's like I'm hearing the Tron Legacy soundtrack. so much so that we were watching something, and Iron Fist is like the first, and like let's just talk about something that I still haven't finished yet that I keep waiting to get better, and I keep hearing it's not going to. But that fucking thing lifts sections of the goddamn Tron Legacy soundtrack. We were watching a movie the other day, and I wish I could remember which one it was because I've watched so many, but I was like, Jesus Christ, like Tron Legacy called, they'd like their sound cue back. So much so that I played both the pieces of music for my wife, and she was blown away how similar they were. You know, and I'm wondering, like, nobody's suing anybody over any of this? Like, there's not any issue? I can't do it anymore. Yeah. Originality, people. Originality.
You know what bugs me? It's this fucking 8-bit sounding bullshit that keeps showing up in it. Like it showed up in Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And I wanted to fucking throw something through the TV.
I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, I'm so over that bullshit. It didn't even make sense.
Not for that movie.
It made no sense.
Well, they didn't want to put in like traditional, you know, Chinese Buddhist music or anything into it. They were already dealing with the fact that it was like, you know, Mr. White appropriation over there, as I've heard so much about. Yes, my eyes could not roll back any further on that as well. So apparently you're not allowed to do anything ever anymore. So,
dude, my dreadlocks fucking drive him nuts, dude.
Oh, do you get comments on that a lot?
Fuck no. Do you think any of these pussies are gonna say anything to me?
I don't think anybody ever says anything to you about shit like that.
As I walk by, they'll say something when I'm not within earshot. But yeah, I know it fucking drives them crazy. I mean, as a matter of fact, the original person won't do my dreads anymore because I am a white man.
Really?
Yep.
Told you that.
Sent me an article as to why.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like,
to me, that's just bad business.
I was like, whatever. You feel like making some money again? Give me a holler. My new girl doesn't have a problem with it. She's fucking cool. And she's a fucking total hippie, dude. You know? And she knows I'm fucking... My dreadlocks are more on a fucking savage fucking scale of fucking barbarians who don't fucking clean, you know, wash their fucking hair and comb it. You know, she's fucking cool with it. She doesn't bother her, you know. So, but yeah, whatever.
I don't have to worry about it. I just gave up haircuts.
You officially are like on the Barry Gibb appropriation committee.
Dude, I just had somebody saying, "Are you cosplaying Andy Lincoln right now?" I guess.
Fucking A, man. Just let it go wild, dude.
It's wild.
You're not that far from White Jesus as well.
That was Halloween this year. I will be Jesus from Walking Dead.
Awesome.
And we haven't talked about it yet, but the next time we get together, we will be having an American Gods discussion because Steve's got to get caught up.
I got to get caught up on
Dude,
this, man. I do.
It's so good,
I've
dude.
been recommended this like many times. I need to sit down. I just haven't had a lot. Like the weekends.
No, it's over, right?
No, we got one more.
The weekends are my fucking time,
Yeah.
and we've just been so booked every fucking weekend.
right.
Like this weekend, I'm going camping. Next weekend is
Well, get your
some
priorities
other
together,
stuff.
man.
I
Watch some
know.
TV.
Fuck, right?
It's good. It's good surrealist television,
Right,
and we don't want to
okay.
get too much into it. But they deal like they did this last episode where Vulcan, the god Vulcan, had sort of been forgotten, and he rediscovered his ability to be a war god through guns. And so he basically had taken over a town in West Virginia, which had a gun factory in it, and they were all stamped with the Vulcan seal. And there's this like great opening where like this happy guy is going into work and he's like waving at everybody at the gun factory, and he like walks in and he gets up to this upper level and he falls over a rail into one of the vats. That's one of the smelting vats.
Yeah.
And it fucking melts him. And so the whole concept is like, oh, these accidents happen here pretty regularly. And it's all blood sacrifice.
Right.
So
And any bullet that is fired is like a prayer
to him.
And that gives him power anytime they shoot off the guns.
Gotcha.
And so this whole town is
Brilliant.
very like, yeah. And so, and then they play with a little bit of like Nazi sort of propaganda
Right.
because they all have like the Vulcan symbol, like they're wearing armbands in support for
Right.
the dead, you know. But it's this town that he shows up in, and it's
Yeah.
like Vulcan basically owns it, and they
okay.
worship him, and everybody's carrying rifles on the street,
Right.
You know, and it's like they like worship him through, and it's like this super American, like and it's like we love our guns in this country, like we all fucking love them, they're great, right?
Yep.
But it's like it's like you're like that's fucking brilliant, you know. And then the episode before that, you meet some of the villains of this world, you know, that they're introducing. So you meet Mr. World, who is sort of Mr. World's kind of an interesting villain because he's an evolving villain,
Right.
But the concept of like the entire like people that worship the planet almost. And the idea of the show is sort of the concept of what came first, the god, or like through worship of something that doesn't exist, does the god come to be?
I've got to watch this now because that's been my theory for the last couple of years now. Is as people move away from your standard Judeo-Christianity, they just fill that with a new religion, a new god,
and that's what
with scripture, and prophets, the whole thing. So I got to see this now.
One of the villain gods is media. The media god is Gillian Anderson, of X-Files.
Okay.
And the first time you meet her, she's David Bowie.
Yeah.
In the back of
all
the
right, I heard
limo.
a little bit about this.
And then she's Marilyn.
Monroe. And she's Lucille Ball.
It's funny. A few weeks ago, I had made a post about like, when I am driving down the freeway, if I get behind a work truck that's got rebar or pipe or javelins or fucking lances, I immediately get around this truck. I've seen enough Final Destination movies.
Far too many.
As soon as I said this, I think somebody had brought, was it you, Ron?
It was American Gods, dude.
American Gods. I've got to see this show.
The guys drive, they really do a lot of interesting things about sort of the concept of a person and their relationship with the gods. Because Wednesday, who is Ian McShane from Deadwood fame, he's actually he's playing Odin. And they don't come out and directly say it. In the first episode, it's sort of like the Vikings are arriving at America, and they essentially pray to Odin to like get us out of here. And so they start doing all these crazy things. But he's a god of war, Right. So they were like the only way we can be like they just did, like there's this narration, but like the only way we can leave here is if we fucking fight. And so these Vikings that are all in the same boat together, like start trying to kill each other, essentially. And then through this, like and you never see him, the wind comes up. And immediately when the wind comes up, they stop. And they all run on the boat, and whoever's dead is just left behind.
Right.
And so that's sort of and then it's like, then we meet Odin. And like the whole concept of like the old gods being forgotten and the new gods essentially, which are like media and fucking what's the kid technology. Like he's literally like this fucking scene kid with his little sideways hat and his chain, and he looks like like he would have fallen out of fucking East London, with and he's an asshole, and like all his minions are these faceless things, they're like people-ish, but there's no discernible, and so they like they basically try and lynch the black guy. It's like
the anonymity of the internet.
They're just O's and ones.
It's and exactly that. They're anonymous because and it's like, so Shadow, who's our inlet into this universe, he's discovering it. And there's all these great twists and turns. The book is phenomenal.
Sold.
I bought the book. I'm about 5 chapters in.
I'd say the show's better than the book.
Right.
Okay.
At this point, the show, I'm like, the book was great and the show is phenomenal. And there's they're actually giving more payoff than they did in the book. There's like a really heavy, like, there's a lot of penis in this show would be the only thing I would like if you're not ready for a lot of dick. And there's one scene in like the 3rd or 4th episode where there's like a gay sex scene with a genie and this guy, and they talk about it sort of in the book, but like they do like this shot where like they're having sex and they pull out and they make both of them sort of see through, so you don't see like the dick or anything, but the genie fucking comes fire into this guy, like.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, like, but the genie's eyes are like constantly on fire, and he's like a cab driver.
Yeah.
So they play with that sort of like the idea of the genie, you taking the genie's place, that switch. He's like driving a magical cab.
Okay.
And so basically, like, the guy's like, I don't grant wishes anymore. But the guy's only wish is to have a new life. Like, he hates his fucking life. And so he switches places with the fucking genie and becomes essentially like the new driver of the cab.
Gotcha.
It's like there's so much good shit going on. And it's fucking violent and like
and I like trippy. That.
Like, if you like surrealism,
there's the leprechaun who
fucking
fights with everybody.
Leprechaun is fantastic. And he's this giant like Irish dude.
He's like 6'7", something like that.
Just giant man,
but not a leper. Well, not what we would think of.
Right.
But that's what they're like. What? Who are you? He's like, I'm a fucking leprechaun. And it's like he does a lot of like magic constantly with the coins.
Yeah.
But he's got his lucky coin that he accidentally gives to Shadow, and then because of that, it brings his dead wife back. So she's literally like, they have an episode where she's being ushered to the other side. You know, there's like all the gods exist essentially is their concept.
Okay.
You know, and our belief in them drives them. And at one point, Wednesday's talking about it, and he's like, he's like, oh, we need to, like, they start talking about Jesus. He's like, oh yeah, white Jesus, he does pretty good. But you know who's doing great for himself these days? Mexican Jesus. Like, Mexican Jesus is killing it.
Right. Well, it was the only cool thing about those Clash of the Titan remakes that they kind of touched on was that these gods were losing their power as people lost their faith in them and stuff like that. And they were moving on to different gods and stuff. That was kind of a cool little concept to it. That's
this concept as well, but it's taken in like this really ultra American viewpoint, you know? So like they had an episode where like they talked about Mexican Jesus like early on, and then you see Mexican Jesus in action. So like the illegals are crossing the river, and one guy starts to get pulled away, and fucking Mexican Jesus is walking on the water and reaches down and saves him. And then like a militia group shows up and starts gunning down the illegals, and so Mexican Jesus sacrifices himself, or is sacrificed to the Hispanics trying to cross the border when he's shot through each hand and then fucking through the head, and then right as he's laying on the ground, a fucking tumbleweed goes by and settles on his head.
Oh shit.
So it's like this perfect imagery, and
I gotta see this.
It's like so much like, and there are some moments, don't get me wrong, there are some moments in it where you're like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
Right. There are some definite like scratcher moments. Like, what the
you're
hell
like,
is this?
when did I fall into a Beastie Boys video? Like, when did that happen? You know? But then there's like the storytelling, so fucking interesting, and they do like a whole episode with.
Is this on Netflix?
It's on Stars.
Oh, it's on Stars. Okay.
Stars. So if
Even
you have
better.
it, it's on demand.
Oh yeah, I've got. Yeah.
But it's if you can, that one episode where they flash back to his girlfriend, and how he ended up in jail, and sort of her like how she dies and everything. It's like, first off, it's brutal in spots. Like it's emotionally brutal, but then it's like her dealing with death. Like her heart is like, she's kind of a zombie, but she's not, like she's slowly decaying, and so everybody walks in, they're like, what's that smell? Like, and she's all stitched together.
Yeah.
And then the leprechaun's like, he's like, because she's got his lucky coin, and that's what's keeping her alive, the magic from that. Like, but he's like, he's like, you like sitting in that hot water because it makes your skin warm. He's like, you know what else it's going to do? It's going to make it fall off your fucking body until you're just a bunch of bones and meat. And he goes, and at that point, I'm taking my fucking coin back. But it's like, there's so many nice, like, fun moments like that. And like, it just, a lot of it's like, because they're taking their time opening the story up.
We've gone through an entire first season,
and we
haven't really got anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely it's in for the long haul.
And it's a story that it's for somebody like me, where I have religion, but I'm not like a religious person. I'm not the kind of person where I'm gonna toot my horn and force shit on you. Like, I don't believe in that. It speaks to me in ways like that, what we're talking about, like that idea of like, I think at a certain point people forget why they follow religion. They just do it mindlessly, and then they choose new religions based on whatever of the new of the day drives them. You know, and that religion can be Star Wars. It can be fucking Fox News. You know, it can be river rafting. Well, the guides, those crunchy motherfuckers.
Dude, these guys are straight out of fucking Point Break, right? Man. I mean, they're like,
Dude, okay, real quick, sidetrack back to rafting. So the first day we had like this Asian group of people that we did not know that were on their own trip. And they flipped their boat in the middle of this small class 3 rapid. Yeah. And one of the other guides literally looks at the people in his boat and was like, you guys got this. Runs, takes 4 steps, like runs, doop, 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 down the center of the boat, jumps, and literally jumps from one boat to the flipped over boat, pulls a carabiner off his goddamn belt loop, wraps it on, that's got a strap, pulls it over to the other side, and is like riding this goddamn thing down the river like a Greek god, like with one on each side. And then he's like 1, 2, and flips the boat back over by himself, all in the span of like 20 seconds. Wow. Meanwhile, Steve and I we're like
I didn't even see this happening because I'm watching this fucking girl come down the river, and I'm just like, her and I, like, we've locked eyes. Right. And I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. I got to get this girl out of the river, like right now. So I didn't even see all that happen.
Oh, I saw that while I was rescuing the other guy.
I was totally like focused on nothing but getting, and then she almost went under the front of our boat, you know, and luckily she was a little thing, so I was able to get her no problem.
All them curls paid off for you on this trip, right?
Yeah.
It was like,
because we had to do that 3 times.
We were rescue boat on this trip. I think you pulled 2 people out. I pulled 4 people out.
Yeah.
And we pulled one out together. So but
we got Crystal twice.
Yeah.
You know, so
Dude, she got you know how in movies when people hit trees and it doesn't do anything, we're just gonna drive through these branches or something. That is not what happens when you hit a tree in real life at 12 to 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
She hit a branch and it cleared their boat out, dude.
What?
Yeah.
And Shane's got to be pushing 300 pounds. He is not a small man. This guy fell out of the boat and and one of the other guys got sucked into a rapid, Chris, and it pushed him up against a rock, and I shit you not, he jumped out of the water like Wolverine.
Yeah. See, I looked up and he was. I missed the jump, but I looked up and he was on top of the rock. I was like, "Oh shit! How are we gonna get him?"
And not only that, but you're like, "How the fuck did he get up there?"
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So, anyways, but
yeah, the guides fucking Point Break.
Yes,
they're doing this for the summer. They'll be in Costa Rica after that, and they'll be riding the Nar in fucking Australia, in the winter. So, hey. Fucking A, guys. Yeah. I mean, you're living it.
But you're right. But I mean, that's their life, and that's what they're into. And you talk to them, and one of the guys in our boat was working to be a guide. He was a retired cop. And we're like, and I thought he was divorced at first. And he's like, "Oh, no, my wife just stays at home." I'm like, "You have the coolest wife ever." And then she just is like, "Go be a rafting guide for the summer, sweetie."
After the fact, I was thinking about this on the way home. It was like, these fucking guides, they've got their big ass oars. These motherfuckers didn't need us at all.
You're right.
Okay, they were shouting commands to make us feel like we were doing something. Right. Our guy, he was in control of that fucking boat. And now, after we got back too, and I'd heard that those people had they
didn't want us in that water.
They knew what had happened.
Yeah.
And I remember when we had gotten to camp,
and I asked about
remember the helicopter that went by a couple times?
Yep.
Real fucking low like?
Yep.
Yeah. Some shit had gone down, dude.
We had three people die on the upper Kern while we were there. Not in our bank of the river, but they were definitely,
So you know that they knew. You know, they were in contact
but they didn't tell us.
Shit. No, they weren't saying
at all.
They're
not like, "Hey, somebody died," but they were super. And with the whole trip, and we kept saying, "I'm like, man, everybody's really nervous on this trip this year," and that makes sense as to why. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, yeah, for sure. So, but with that being said, American Gods,
check it out.
I know I was gonna say we're
sold.
We will have a long discussion
Logan
about
Noir.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ice Pirates, definitely.
And Ice Pirates.
That's a second chance movie.
And don't waste your money on Alien Covenant.
No, fuck no. Go rewatch Aliens with Bill Paxton, and you'll be much better for it. So, all right, guys. We did a little bit more than we had originally anticipated, so we'll probably end up breaking this into 2 episodes.
No, that's all right.
I don't care. Our listeners will be happy, right? But yeah, man, it's been good seeing you guys again. We'll have to do this again sooner as opposed to later. We do have some stuff coming up that we're going to need to talk about. I know Steve's really excited about the new Transformers movie coming out, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah, man. It's
opening day.
Good. Yeah. Something about the fucking Knights of the Round Table. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
But we will do a Wonder Woman talk on our next episode.
For sure.
For sure. So, all right, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We have certainly enjoyed recording for you. Once again, I'm Brody.
I'm the Alien Fleshlight.
I am Don't Touch Anything.
And we hope you guys are having a Nerdlife Crisis. Music for the Nerdlife Crisis podcast is provided by Big Papa and the TCB. All music available at bptcb.com or at iTunes. The Nerdlife Crisis is recorded at the Inland Blue Studios. Make sure to subscribe to the Nerdlife Crisis at iTunes and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Nerdlife Crisis.